What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. I kind of wanted to talk about something a little different today. I was not being dramatic in that thumbnail. This hobby has literally saved my life. And I kind of wanted to go into that because I'm sure there are a lot of people that have been in the position I was before I got this thing up and running. And kind of wanted to talk about how I started and why specifically, you know, the bulk aspect of this in general, but just getting started was so important, and pushing through all the things that I did in the beginning of this really mattered. If you don't know who I am, my name is Bronzgod. I sell trading cards on Tcgplayer. Just for about 3 years now. I do average about $40,000 a year, mostly selling bulk. Basically, I want to say 2021, right when COVID started to peak, I was not in the best spot. I was pretty much drowning in debt. I want to say I had like $40,000 in debt, and then like another 20 or 30,000 in student loans. And I was playing the credit card carousel. I was just, payday would come. I'd pay off the thing that was about to go into collections and use that to survive to the next week, and round and round it goes. And around COVID time, they had like the rent moratoriums or whatever the word is. And the apartment complex I lived in was a little shady, to where even though it wasn't a lot of people's fault for falling behind due to work and stuff, they didn't care. So once that moratorium got lifted, if you owed anything, you were basically booted out. And I wasn't in a position to challenge that at all. So I was really trying to figure out where to go from there. And luckily, I shouldn't say luckily, but at the time, my parents are getting older, but they're not like in horrible shape. But they were needing some help around the house, and they offered for me to move in with them for a couple of years to not only help them out, but to kind of help get my life in order. Because at the time I was like 36, 37. And it was both a blessing and a curse, right? Socially speaking, when you're 37 and living at home with your parents, it's got some negative connotations to it. Yes, some of the situation I was in was my fault, but a lot of it wasn't. There was lots of unfortunate things, and I had a surgery or two from being overweight, so I guess that's my fault. But there were a lot of things that were just stacking up against me, and it wasn't a feel-good moment. So when I moved in, the solace that I had from being able to chip away at my debt was counteracted with really just not feeling like a human being. I'm sure I've been depressed from time to time before, but this was probably the first time. This is now like 2022, 2023. It was the first time that I can say I was truly, truly depressed. I am normally a pretty outgoing guy. I like to talk to people. I like to crack jokes. I like to make people laugh, and very personable. It's easy for me to make friends usually. That's not like a humble brag or anything, but it is. It's never really been an issue for me. And I found myself more and more not only gaining weight over that time, because at the time I'd lost like 100 or so pounds, but as the days went by, I kept feeling more and more crappy about myself, and I started going out less. And I started getting into really bad habits. Usually I would, when it comes to social drinking, I'd go out every, a week or two, have a beer or two with some buddies, or a drink or two with some buddies, and then go home. I started staying in more and more, gaming later and later, introducing, other addictive substances like alcohol to the mix. And over the course of about 6 to 8 months, I started realizing that it was starting to go into a direction that was not good. For a number of reasons: health, weight, money, everything. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good. But when you get down that low, and I'm sure there's people out there that have been in worse spots, but once you get to the point where you just feel utterly defeated, it feels like you just have this like just giant wet rug laying on you at all times. And every time you get a burst of energy to get out and start doing things, you just can't. You just can't. you try and kick and scream, and you can't get from out this heavy weight that is keeping you down. And the only thing you do is keep doing the things that keep you down. And that is a cycle that is very, very, very hard to break. And I want to say towards the end of 2023, I never, I don't want to say it blatantly, but I've never thought about things before, if you know what I mean. But there was one particular day where that crept into my mind of like, I'm broke. I'm living with my parents. I'm middle-aged. I don't have a family. All my friends have families. All my friends are doing these great things. And I'm here in this room, with nothing going on. And I was defeated, and it sucked. And, I'm trying really hard not to get emotional thinking about it because of where I am now and knowing where I came from. But, it was not a good time. It just wasn't. And, one thing that all throughout my life I did was play games. In high school, 1995, 1996, is when I originally got into playing Magic the Gathering. Every day I'd be at the card shop. I'd ride my bike up there, play with friends. I started playing competitively for years. We would drive all around the state to, Grand Prix and, tournaments. And we were grinders. Now, I wasn't the best, but I had my moments where I was able to get the odd, top 64 or top 32. But I really liked playing trading card games, especially Magic the Gathering back in the day. I dabbled in Pokemon here and there, but it was always the second thing. I just collected what I liked, like Psyduck and stuff. And I always thought it'd be cool to have a game store or have my own card store, but I never thought any more outside of that because I always liked playing too much. I always liked hanging out, and the communities around here, at least, they were very close knit and very large. Friday nights when Friday Night Magic was a big thing, there'd be 60, 70 people in some of these buildings that we would go to. And it was just this big second family away. And as I was going through the struggles that I started thinking about those memories and how to get back into that. So I started forcing myself to at least go, even if I didn't play, I would start going to Friday Night Magics, or just to get out of my own head. And that was a big first step. It didn't help any of the other problems like money and stuff, but it was a big first step in the right direction. And then I found a video, and that video was this one. I had just randomly said, trading cards, like how to start selling trading cards. And this was the video that came up. And I know in some of the videos that I've talked about, I've talked about RNG games before. Sometimes when you watch videos from certain people, they just hit different, right? It's part of the reason why I was so nervous into getting into content creation, because at this point, it's like a Simpsons did it kind of thing. There's been plenty of people before me that have done tutorials on packaging cards and doing this and that. But I think you guys would agree that you've probably watched the same video from 7 or 8 different people, and 1 or 2 of those just hit different for you, right? This one did. Just the way he talked, the way he carried himself, seeing where he started, even though it wasn't as bad as me, it just checked off all the boxes. And after watching that video, I found a $30 bulk collection on Facebook, and I opened it, and inside it was a near mint Japanese trainer of Rosa. At the time, I think it was Dream League. Dream League? Is that the Japanese set? At the time, it was like $500, and I was like, holy shit. I know things like that are going to happen all the time, but the fact that I went to go start, saw this video, that happened, and I was like, okay, we're gonna give this a shot. And I made a bunch of mistakes, and I lost probably 80% of that because I didn't know how to ship properly. I didn't know how to do a lot of things properly, and I almost quit. I almost quit. I was like, this is dumb. This is stupid. Basically just setting myself up to be a permanent victim for the rest of my life, where the dominoes didn't fall my way and I'm just going to be a hermit, and I just give up. And I'm glad I didn't, because YouTube and subscribers and all that stuff away, there is no more addictive drug out there than putting in hard work towards something and seeing it pay off. I was able to, largely from the extra money I had from not paying rent, but of that $40,000 of school debt over that 2 or 3 years, I would say $10,000 to $15,000 of that debt was paid off by bulk. And that is why I have such an affinity for it, because I didn't have a lot of money. I wasn't able to go do mass box openings or buy $1,000 slabs or sling giant cards. I had bulk. That is all I had. And it took a while. It took probably 3 to 6 months of, and a lot of my friends who watch this video, they probably can find screenshots of me whining and complaining like a baby inside Discords of, this doesn't work. This is never going to work. I've got this many cards listed. No one's going to buy anything. And, one day it just happened and it just started working. And, you know, a lot of the reason why I'm not further along in my business is because I've had to spend so much of that money that I made, paying off debt. And I still have probably 10,000 or so left in student loans, but I don't know, man. I just, getting into trading cards, collecting them again and buying and selling them gave me an outlet to not focus on my crappy life, basically. Committing to it fully was allowed me to, I didn't have a drinking, well, I shouldn't say I didn't have a drinking problem. It was starting to become a problem. Thankfully, I don't have like an addictive personality, but it was starting to get to a point, and I knew that if I didn't do something, I would, like, I had to prove to myself that I didn't have a problem, or else I had a problem. So I latched onto cards and I said, this is all I'm doing night and day for the next 6 months. And if I can't give this other stuff up, then there's a problem. I need to go talk to somebody. And I was able to give it up. Weight's still an issue. You know, that's the last thing to start tackling. But, you know, when you have different goals, especially big ones like behavioral stuff like that, trying to do it all at the same time is not going to work. You're going to fail. I'm sure there's the odd person, the odd David Goggins person that can do that, but I couldn't. So I chose to go in order, and having trading cards to buy and sell and collect, and befriending people. A lot of the people I buy bulk from and shops that I frequent, you know, I wasn't friends with them before. Most of my friends I've had for 20 plus years. And quite frankly, I probably don't need any more like friends. But just casual people to talk to, and they've become really good relationships to have. And doing all that with trading cards and making me focus on something else has gotten me to the point now where I have some freedom in what I'm able to do. Not a lot. I still have a lot of constraints with my available money, and, you know, because like you've heard me say, and a lot of people other videos say, you know, bulk is time intensive. It's money intensive. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get your money back. You try your hardest to get it back fast, but it is so risk adverse that if you're in a tough spot and you're trying to sell cards, you need to try it. You need to give it a shot. I don't know, man. If I hadn't found that video and, it could have been different. That's all I'll say. But I'm glad I did. And 3 years later, I'm sitting before you with a decent sales record, fostering, I would want to think, a good reputation, not only in selling cards, but online. Hitting 1,000 subscribers is still absolutely insane. I try not to compare myself to other people, but it's hard not to. When you see some of the guys out there and the stuff they put out, and then you look at your stuff, you think, who in their right mind would do? But if there's anything I've learned, it's just you just got to go for it. You gotta take chances, and especially now with my age, like there's no holding me back. I got no one relying on me but myself. There's no more safety net, so you might as well start throwing things at the window until they stick, and then if they don't, figure out a way to get out of it. But yeah, it was a long, dark road for the last couple years, and now that I've finally gotten to the point where the debt's almost closed out, and I can really start doing some damage and building this up into something I want. Because the ultimate goal is to work for myself. I don't have to be rich. I don't have to have acrylic cases with booster boxes going back to base set. If I can make what I make now or a little more, which is like $50,000, $60,000. I don't make a lot of work. It's just like your average, retail pharmacy job. If I can make that working for myself, I'm fine with that. I want to grow it into something more. I'm not using that as like that's the limit I'm shooting for and that's it. But that is the goal. I don't want to work for a company that does not care for me. I want to own my own company and run my own company the way I want, so I can do things I want. And that way, when I have employees, eventually I can run it in a way to where I would care for them like I wish I was cared about for the last 25 years of the job I was at. Hefty goals, but yeah, I don't know. The goals I've hit already are pretty hefty, so right now, sky's the limit. What's Carol Danvers say in Captain Marvel? Higher, further, faster. That's what we're doing. That's where we're going. I'm sorry if I know I got a little emotional there in the middle, and there's been lots of ums and ahs and stops. It's just talking about this stuff's hard. It just is, and I didn't even think I wanted to put this out there, but I'm sure there are people that have been in the same spot, whether less or more worse than I am. And all I can really say is if you are whether you want to make content or not, whether you are in trading cards or whatever business or whatever, there are a million reasons to not do something. But ultimately, if it's something you want to do, you'll find a way to do it. And I did it. I made it, and we're going to keep grinding towards the finish line, which I hope I never get to. I hope I spend the next 20 or 30 years just chasing after big goal after big goal. So I appreciate you guys watching. I know that was kind of a long and all over the place, but really felt like talking about that because especially after that guy reacted to that video, man. Like, it didn't really bother me, but I think a sliver of it did with the whole thinking he didn't have a job, and like I don't know, man. I shouldn't have let it get to me that much. I probably did. I played it off well, though, right? I mean, he helped me out big time, so I guess I should be thanking him. But anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. If you've been going through, if you have or are or going through the same kind of thing, I'd love to hear it and help talk you through it. If you are, if you have and you're out of that, let me know how you got there, because I think when you've been in a tough situation like that, it's never really over. There's always that chance that you could fall backwards, and it's always important to be talking to people when you're starting to feel any kind of way like that, so you don't fall back. But yeah, I appreciate you guys very much for the par content I create. But every day that goes by, we get better and better, and every day that goes by, we chase bigger and better dreams. So thank you guys very much for hanging out. I appreciate it again to all the new subscribers. We will be seeing you again very soon. Hope you have a great day and take care. Bye.